I'll catch up. What do you need? Let me see.
What do you want? Oh, it's you. You actually came.
Surprised?
Like a dog that catches its tail. All right, here's the deal then. That business in the mire made me realise something. Why should I hunt for my materials when someone like you could risk your neck instead? You bring me what I need, and I'll forge you something better than that thing you call a weapon.
And what do you need? Another wolf fang?
No, don't be so boring. I need the head of a Medusa matriarch. Bring me that, and we're in business.
A Medusa matriarch? Why in blazes do you need that to forge a weapon?
Look, if I wanted someone second-guessing my work, I would find myself a derelict. Come back with it or don't. Your choice.
I met a young dark elf by the name of Devlis. He asked me to...
Ah, that clawless cave worm. Got you to run his errands for him? Fine. I'll make the damned insignia. Normally I'd charge for this, but you did save my life. Consider us even after this. Wait here. Here you go.
This better work.
Well, if it doesn't, don't come looking for a refund.
Go ahead.
At once.
You're back. Do you have it?
Here you go. I hope your plan works. I paid a small fortune for that thing.
Oh, thank you. It will. I'm sure of it. While you're here, I do have one more favor to ask.
What now?
I need to get a letter to Kelia, my love. She grew up in the commune next to mine and was placed into endurance last year. She doesn't believe there's a way for us to be together. But now that I have the documents, we could both leave. We'd be free. Please, could you take this to her?
Okay, I'll deliver the letter.
You're doing too much for the boy, General.
Oh, thank you. I'll make the final preparations while you're gone. I can't believe this is really happening.
Are you Kelia?
I am? Who's asking?
I have a letter for you from Devlis.
Not this again. Let me see that. We can be together. No casts, no cage, no fear. Nor's claws, he's completely lost his senses.
He believes you want to run away with him.
Why would I want that? I told him I was happy with my place in the realm, and if that meant we couldn't be together, then so be it. We each have our own roles to fulfill. I should take this to the guard. If they learn I knew about his escape plans, they'll make me a derelict. I'm not going to let him ruin my life.
You may not want to be with him, but if you care about him at all, you'll at least wait to report him. This is his one chance at freedom.
Fine. I'll wait a day. If you see him again, you tell him I hope it's worth it.
So you do care?
Please go before I change my mind.
We should move.
Stay close.
Sounds like a plan.
This better be good.
I gave Kelia the letter.
Yes? And? Will she meet me here?
She doesn't want anything to do with you.
What? That can't be. Are you sure she read the letter?
Look, if you want to get out of here, you can't be distracted by anyone else. You have to focus.
I know. You're right. I can't let this jeopardize my chances. Well then, I should get going. Thank you again for everything you've done. I hope we meet again out there so I can thank you properly.
Good luck.
Okay, I'm going to do it. Here I go.
As autumn creeps through the heartland of Fiora, signs of change are apparent even on the coast.
Here we are. The last scout report from this area mentioned there might be Medusae around.
Might be. Last I heard, the area's crawling with them. Shouldn't be hard to find.
Well, if there's a lot of them, then we need to be careful.
Aye. Ready your weapon if you hear a hiss. Nothing like the sea.
Watch out! Crimes end here.
Really? Try to keep up.
Bandits up ahead.
That way?
Out of the way.
So it must be.
Let me focus.
Sure.
This way. Over here.
Tell me, Iria, does the circle work? Are people less afraid of mages now that there are representatives?
I guess, yeah. It didn't solve every problem, but before the circle, people thought mages were the source of all evil. Now they know we're just people. There are evil mages, there are good mages, and most are in between.
Stay close.
Cramp.
Sure.
Interesting.
You know the way, right? Go for the eyes!
Is that the best you can do?
Nowhere to run now.
I am on it.
They are fools
To the
to challenge us.
Let me focus.
Yes.
Lead on then.
What is that?
A shrine of some kind, maybe? It looks like something can fit into that slot there.
Maybe. Let's check it out. Two scales seem to be missing. Two scales seem to be missing. The scales are there, but something's odd. One scale to go. Two scales seem to be missing. One scale to go.
So it must be.
Let's
Let
do
me
this.
focus!
Really? No one lives forever.
You were saying?
Out of the way.
I'll take a look. Here we go.
We can take them.
Let me focus!
You're brave.
This ends now.
If there's any treasure involved, I call dibs. Sounds like a plan.
I'm here.
Go for the eyes! Take them out!
You got it. Get ready.
Is that the best you can do?
Hi.
Go for the eyes!
Pathetic!
Move in.
I need help over here.
Yes, I'm on it.
Outwards. Fair enough. Let's do this.
Yes?
Try to keep up.
Sounds like a plan. Sure. Make the dwarf do it. Get ready.
Let me focus! What do you need?
Take them out!
Attack!
Consider it done.
Nowhere to run now.
All right. Here goes nothing.
All right, I'm going. What do you want? Lead on then.
That way?
The scales are there, but something's odd.
Huh. Interesting. Let me see.
One scale to go. The scales are there, but something's odd.
I'll take a look.
Two scales seem to be missing.
Huh. Interesting.
One scale to go.
Out your enemies.
Our enemies? What do you mean?
The people. Arrakis rose to power because of the people who share his views. If you want your rebellion to succeed, you'll also need to deal with the populace. Stamp out their ideology.
No, we're not going to turn on our own people. Controlling what people think isn't the answer. If the king leads, the people will follow.
Let me know how that goes.
You were saying?
Hi, what you looking for? Oh, that'll do.
Of course.
Sure.
What's this?
Is that the best you can do?
Here we go.
Pathetic!
So, what's the plan?
This is it.
I could use some healing!
Uh-huh.
What is it?
Your graves are calling.
You got it.
You again?
I have what you asked for.
Grand. Wait here. Here you go.
This will be useful. Thanks.
No refunds, no returns, just so we're clear. Good day.
Can you craft anything else?
That I can. But it'll cost you. I need materials if I'm to do the work. Here, I've written it down. Ah, and take this. You'll need it.
That smells interesting.
It's not supposed to please your nostrils. It's supposed to help you lure the troll out of the cave. Those are wood garlic leaves. Trolls can't resist the smell. Kill a mole, marinate it in the leaves, and dump it in front of the troll cave. He'll be out in no time.
Seasoning a mole. Well, why the hell not? Can you craft anything else?
That I can. But I'm still working on my designs. So scram for now, Pale Blood.
I'll be going.
See ya.
Few maps exist in the Greykeep libraries of the Loranian swamplands. A vast underground swath of bog and marsh on the fringes of the Exalted Father.
Go home.
Stones. Right into the deep stuff, huh? I guess after chasing down pirates, the idea of returning to an ordinary life wasn't that exciting. And I did go home, once I heard Malik needed my help.
And that was enough for you? Chasing pirates?
Aye, for the time being. Why do you ask?
Oh, just curious.
I'm here.
Keep it up.
Sounds like a plan. That way?
What do we have here?
Let me see.
Stay close.
Really?
You got it.
Try to keep up.
Sounds like a plan.
No one lives forever. They are fools to challenge us.
This ends now! Over here. This way.
Mm-hmm.
Stay close.
So, what's the plan? Sure.
Sure.
Let's be quick! Their crimes end here.
Pleasant surprise.
You got it.
Go ahead.
We should move. Let's do this.
Send it back to the brave. Let me focus.
Your graves are calling.
I'll catch up.
Yes, I'm on it. Lead on then.
Ugh, cramp.
Sure.
Out of the way.
What do you need?
Try to keep up.
Get ready! That way?
So it must be.
Nowhere to
Keep
run
it up.
now.
We can take them.
No one lives forever. Really? Mm-hmm. They are fools to challenge us.
Yes.
Yes?
How about some bandages? No?
I could use some healing.
Just give the word. Huh. Interesting.
Interesting.
Oh, hello again.
Here's what you asked for.
Aye. That'll do the trick. Is it tight? My best work can't be rushed. Here we are. Use it well.
I'd like something crafted.
Aye, and I'd like to craft a fine piece of gear for you. But my little flame needs a rest. Can't have his little fire going out. Why don't you come back later?
I'll be going.
Aye. Be seeing you.
For the first few days of your journey back to Greykeep, Catras is withdrawn and quiet. But the more...
Yes.
Well then, the Queen will want to report. Hmm?
Keep it up.
What? And you thought you could just walk in here and all would be forgiven? You are a war criminal, Catras Vertarth. You helped Rondor Lacane in the Purity Wars. Regardless of what your intentions may be now, the Crown does not forget.
That may be so, but she needs me. Without me, my men, and the information I have access to, you will have a hard time tracking down those sleepers you're after. That being said, once all this is over, I'll accept my punishment, whatever it is. But for now, please let me help you. I'm trying to do good here.
Fine. You will be granted temporary amnesty until the threat has been taken care of. So will your men.
Thank you. Trust me. These technologies and new men I hired will be worth their...
Tell us what you found out about the sleepers and that masked woman.
I think you're dealing with the Dark Crescent. A group of terrorists that separated from the Exalted Father's realm. In short, they committed over 3 dozen terrorist attacks on the public. Though they've never been caught, We know that it's a former sleeper who's leading them. A woman with extraordinary abilities, who burned down her wellspring and everybody in it before breaking ties with the realm. She's the one you fought in that village in La.
But what interest would a terrorist group have in bringing the God of Light into this world?
I have absolutely no idea.
Since you're speaking in the past tense, I assume the Dark Crescent hasn't terrorized anyone in a while.
Correct. A year ago, they just disappeared into the shadows.
To start harvesting souls for the God of Light.
Why did this Dark Crescent turn on the Dark Elven realm? What's their agenda?
Well, that's the thing. Nobody knows. Most of their attacks seemed completely arbitrary. Sometimes they targeted members of the Soul, sometimes workers. Sometimes their only intent seemed to be to do as much damage as possible. Then again, keep in mind that sleepers, like all Dreamweavers, think differently than we do. There might be a logic in their actions that we simply don't understand. Yet.
How sure are you it's them?
Very sure.
How come Wraith doesn't know about them?
I'm wondering the same thing.
Because it only just happened 3 years ago. Just when you became an exile, in other words.
What more can you tell us about her? About the masked woman?
Not much, I'm afraid. Sleepers are stripped of their names once they enter the Wellsprings. All I know about her is that she's extremely powerful. Probably the strongest sleeper the realm has produced in a while. But who knows? Maybe that title will go to Sorobi soon. Bloody girl. Bloody stubborn girl.
Most powerful sleeper or not, she is made of flesh and blood, as we all are, and can thus be dealt with. What worries me more is that we are dealing with an extremist. This means she will probably not listen to diplomacy and reason.
Probably not, no. And as for the extremist part, keep in mind that sleepers are completely bonkers. They lack all empathy and humanity as we define it.
Meaning?
Meaning she probably thinks more like a construct. A golem, if that makes sense. Her brain has concluded that for whatever reason, helping Sir Evil God into our world is the right thing to do. And she's dead set on making it happen.
Well, then at least we know who we're up against. The Dark Crescent. The question is, how do we find them?
Well, that's the problem. As terrorists, the Crescent works from the shadows. So nobody knows where their hideout is, if they even have one. But my men are on it. We'll do everything in our power to find them, and we'll let you know once we've found something.
Fine. I suppose it is the best we can do for now. You did good work, General.
Do you think the battle in the mire will have consequences? Sorobi, Catrus's daughter, said she'd report us to the realm.
May I?
Yes.
Frankly, I doubt it. On the contrary, if what the Exalted Father wanted was to get rid of the Fleshkin without the involvement of the Strength, then if anything, we did him a favor. I'll grease some palms to make sure the official reports say it was just a mercenary army.
Either way.
You must be very tired. Shall we reconvene tomorrow? Frankly, I could do with a small recess myself.
With your permission, I could use a rest, yes.
Good. Then the audience is hereby concluded. Let the ambassador know if you are ready to discuss further steps.
Out of the way.
Yes, General?
Hey, just checking in. Wanted to see how you're doing.
Fine. Thank you.
Fine? That's it? If something's wrong, you can tell me.
No, it's not that. I never thought I'd see beyond the Howling Steppes. It's strange.
What do you mean?
I knew it would be different, but not this different. Like here in Greyfell, there are so many people crammed together. The walls feel like a basket collecting and trapping everything. And it's so loud. How does anyone stand it?
The walls make people feel safe. After the wars, who can blame them?
I guess. Although I don't know if I feel any safer with this many people breathing down my neck.
I imagine the Howling Steppes must be very different. What's it like living there?
Nothing like this.
That's extremely vague. You're avoiding the question.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to be rude. I'm not used to conversing with outsiders. It's hard to know what to say and what not to.
We're not that different from you, actually. Aside from the preference for walls.
Yes, I see your point. It's just that we're taught from an early age to only trust our own people. Outsiders are to be avoided.
Is this related to what your father said? That outsiders only bring suffering to the world?
Yes, although it's not personal. He means that outsiders haven't renounced violence the way the Aliani have.
So the Aliani are better than everyone else?
I didn't say that, but we're not driving the cart off the cliff, so to speak.
Were we the first outsiders you met?
No, others have come before. They all received my father's warm welcome.
What made us different?
You needed information about Sheokded. And to be honest, we needed the help. It was, as my people call it, a Velden trade. Fair.
In that case, I'm grateful you put your trust in me.
Well, the truth is, General, I don't know you. You seem to mean well, so far, but I'd be a fool to believe in words alone.
I hope you can see me as more than just an outsider or a general, Kaiawu. Maybe we could spend more time together.
Oh, yes, I'd like that. Anyway, you must be busy. Let us speak again some other time.
I'm listening.
Oh, General! I'm glad you stopped by. Do you have a moment?
Sure. What is it?
I wanted to apologize for before.
Before?
The last time we spoke. I realize I may have been kind of curt. It's just, the Aliani are forbidden from having any relationship with outsiders. Even friendship.
Really? That's pretty extreme.
I suppose. But it's easy when you never come in contact with one.
I know the Aliani don't like outsiders, but why is being friends with one forbidden?
Well, it goes back to our teachings. Indulgence, selfishness, violence. These are the downfall of the world, but outsiders refuse to recognize this. To befriend an outsider is to befriend calamity. At least that's what the wise women say.
What happens if you break that rule?
If the chieftain finds out, exile. Forfeiting your place in the afterlife. Our ancestors were not jesting when they made our laws.
Sure, but you're surrounded by outsiders now. Do you agree with that law?
I'm not really in a place to disagree. My people live and die by our traditions. With my father as chieftain, I'm expected to uphold the laws, set an example for our people.
But how do you feel?
I don't know. No one's ever asked me that before.
Thanks for telling me. I know it must be hard, being away from your home.
I just want you to know that I'm on your side.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Actually, can you spare a few more minutes? I want to show you something.
Sure. What is it?
Come with me.
The market?
Yeah. Look at this.
Do they not have markets among the Aliani?
Very funny, General. No, I mean this herb, here. It only grows in the Howling Steppes. We use it to make a dye. When the wind picks up, the drying cloth dances in a swirl of blue. If I had to describe the Aliani as a color, this would be it.
Feeling homesick?
A little, yeah. When I left the tribe, I knew I'd have to leave the familiar behind. I didn't think I'd find any reminders of home out here. But it's also kind of amazing. I mean, here I am, far from the steppes, and here this plant is too. We both made the journey. And all the other people and spices and goods in Greyfell, there's so much here. So much I've never seen before. The Aliani never trade with outsiders. We keep to ourselves. I never knew how much I was missing.
This is your chance then. To find out what's out there.
Yeah, it is. Anyway, I should head back. Thanks for listening. You know, it's easy talking to you.
For an outsider?
Yeah, for an outsider. I'll see you later.
What's this?
Yes, General?
What do you think of the others?
Everyone is so experienced and well-traveled. You included. At times I feel quite small.
Everyone starts somewhere.
True. Though I feel I have a lot of catching up to do. Sir Katras offered to show me where the real fun is. I already found a tavern, but I didn't want to disappoint him.
I'm not sure that's what he means.
Oh, isn't it? Guess I'll have to wait and see.
So, who is Kyle?
Me? Why do you want to know?
I like to get to know the people I work with.
Oh, I see. Okay. What would you like to know?
What was growing up on the steppes like?
Well, the Howling Steppes has its name for a reason. Between the storms that roll through and the constant search for food, it can be a pretty bleak place. That said, I don't know that I'd wish for anything else. I remember the feasts we'd have to honor a special occasion. The whole village devoted days to cooking just for one extravagant meal.
That sounds like a lot of fun. How are things normally?
For a child? Pretty boring.
Things must have been different for you, being the chieftain's son.
Maybe in some ways. We don't revere our leaders like your people do with your queen. People have great respect for my father, but it's the same as being a skilled tracker or an eagle-eyed gatherer.
Really? You're saying others didn't treat you differently, even though one day you'll take over as chieftain?
No. They have no reason to. If you prove yourself skilled and dedicated to the people, your word is respected as much as the wise women or chieftain. Why seek favor with one voice when you can have your own?
What about your father? He seems like an intimidating figure.
Oh yes, that's a different story. He's always held me to a higher standard. It was frustrating at times, but I could see there was a reason to his actions.
Are you close with anyone in your village?
Well, there's my father, and one of the wise women, Yalina, liked to bake these...
No, I mean close.
Oh, you mean like sexually? No, I'm not in a relationship with anyone. Why do you ask?
I just wanted to get a better sense of the people you care about.
Oh, okay.
You mentioned your mother when we first met. May I ask what happened to her?
Oh, she joined the Ancestors several years ago. A sickness swept through the village.
That's terrible. I'm sorry.
Yeah, me too. It hurt for a long time. One day she was fine, and then a moon later, she was gone. I don't know about you, but to me, my parents were invincible. Realizing that someone who was a constant presence your whole life could just be gone. It took me a long time to be at peace with that.
I know exactly what you mean. You believe they will be there forever, even as you grow up and realize the world doesn't work that way.
Yeah, exactly. You know, my father would say I'm a lot like her.
How so?
She was never satisfied with what was on the surface. She challenged him to think beyond tradition for tradition's sake. My father would say she would gladly dig up the steps if it revealed Fiara's heart.
She sounds a lot different than most Aliani.
She was. She was good for my father that way. Anyway, that was her. Let's talk about something else.
That's all I wanted to know.
Sure.
I'd like to learn more about the Aliani.
Sure. I'd be happy to tell you more about my people.
How does your society work?
You mean the structure? Well, you know there's the chieftain. We also have the wise women, our elders. And then there's everyone else.
Why are there only wise women, no men?
It's an old tradition. From what I understand, in the early days of the tribe, only men were allowed to hunt. Not many men lived long enough to become elders.
So shouldn't the customs be updated if the original reason is no longer true?
I suppose it could. But some roots grasp so deep that they can't be dug up. I don't think the elder men would even agree to be wise men.
Are there other tribes like yours on the steppes?
No, just us. At least as far as we know. There have been times when our hunters had to venture farther out into the steppes, but they've never encountered anyone besides the occasional bandit.
That doesn't mean they don't exist.
True, but according to our histories as well, we are the only tribe.
What about the people who are banished from the tribe?
Well, as you said, they're banished, so they're no longer considered Aliani. Not really.
But they're born Aliani. Just because they're no longer part of the tribe doesn't make them foreign.
Well, think of it this way. Someone who's made outcast has broken one of our laws and has betrayed what made them Aliani.
But who defines what is Aliani? What if beliefs and laws change? Can they change?
They could, theoretically. But our laws haven't changed in generations. They do not bend like the steppes grass.
I see. Interesting. Thanks for the chat.
Of course. Listen for the storm.
Over here. What do we have here? Interesting.
General.
You still owe me an explanation for what happened in Calibrock. Who was Zayath? And what does she have to do with the death of your family?
And here I was hoping you'd forgotten about it. Fine. I promised you the truth, didn't I? I can tell you, but it's not exactly an uplifting story. Also, I imagine you have better things to do.
If you don't want to tell me, that's fine.
No, that's not it. I'm just not used to it. Sorry. Come, let's talk somewhere else. Somewhere with less people around. Well then, you've heard about the Bloodburn, haven't you?
Yes.
Good. Then you know it only affected people who weren't magically gifted. I already told you in La that my family, my wife, and my boy died from the Bloodburn. What you don't know, though, is that I could have prevented it. I thought Zayath was responsible, but she was right. I'm to blame. To make it short, when the Bloodburn first surfaced, I refused to see it for what it really was. When the rest of our village fled, I forced my family to stay. And when it hit a week later, it happened fast. I didn't notice because I'm a mage and it didn't affect me. But when I got back home from the laboratory, my wife, Jerobi, and my son, Atros, greeted me at the doorstep. Their eyes swollen and their foreheads burning with fever.
What were they like? Atros and Jerobi?
Different than me. Atros was only 7 when he died, but he took after Jerobi. Good-hearted and optimistic. I never understood how she did it. She had been through hell, and yet she didn't let it bring her down. I still don't understand what she saw in a pessimist like me.
I understand her. You're intelligent and you're kind.
What makes you think I'm kind?
I don't know. It's just something about you. You're distant and withdrawn, but I can tell.
If you say so.
What was your profession?
I told you I was a mage of the intelligence. A scholar.
Yes, but how did you provide for your family? Research alone doesn't pay for food.
It does in the realm. If you're a part of the intelligence and the Council deems the focus of your work worthy, it will provide for you as long as you pursue your studies. That's what Scythe and I did in that village. We studied the nature of life and death.
How come your son didn't live in a commune?
Because we didn't live in Calibrock, but in a small village near the coast. Most children there are brought to the Calibrock communes when they come of age, but there are exceptions.
Why didn't you flee with the others?
Well, what I told Jirobi was that the rumors were superstitious nonsense. A plague that spreads through a song in the wind. Nonsense.
Only that wasn't the full truth.
Mostly I ignored it because I was too absorbed with myself. All I cared about was my work. My experiments. I was on the verge of a breakthrough, and had I abandoned the laboratory, they would have failed. So I rationalized the danger, and stayed. I spent the next fortnight watching them die. And there was nothing I could do. All my life I'd spent studying the nature of life and death. Yet they withered away right before my eyes.
You're a mage. Did you try to heal them?
Of course I did. But it was pointless. And even though I tried to tell myself otherwise, I knew it the moment they opened that door.
Huh. And that's when you broke ties with the realm?
Oh, I didn't break ties. I just ran. To tell you the truth, I don't even remember. It was all blurry. Fragments. I must have spent at least a moon in my home, drinking myself to oblivion. When I finally came to my senses, I was lying in an abandoned fisherman's hut somewhere in the swamps, covered in dirt and bug bites.
That must have been just weeks before you met Tahar, right?
Yes. Have you ever lost someone, General? Someone who was the world to you?
Yes.
Then maybe you know how it feels. That kind of pain. It never goes away. Every day it's like I'm walking through this fog. And while I know I'm alone, I can still see their silhouettes up ahead, reminding me of what once was. And what could have been if I hadn't murdered them. Scythe was also an intelligence scholar, and we worked together in the laboratory. Just a few weeks before I came here, I found out that she'd been to a village the Bloodburn had infested long before it came to ours. So I shifted the blame onto her. Had she told me how dangerous the Bloodburn was, I would have fled with the others, I told myself. It was nonsense, of course, and she was right. I ignored the warning signs even when they became so evident that she left. And all because I was too arrogant to abandon my research. I killed them.
I'm sorry for your loss.
So am I. I guess if there really is a silver lining to everything, then mine is that their death made me realize something. Ultimately, we're on our own. As long as you make your purpose for living something outside of your control, you're doomed to lose it all eventually. You'll never make that mistake again. Anyway, I've been rambling on for too long. I hope I satisfied your curiosity, General. I will see you on the next mission.
Ugh. Why is everything still spinning?
How are the rebels doing?
Good. Things are moving thanks to that gold. We're filling our ranks and securing more resources. It'll be a while, but this rebellion is actually becoming something.
What do you think of the people who've joined us?
This again? Who do you mean?
What about Catras?
I don't want to talk about him.
Why are you?
Look, he's a good guy, I guess. But don't tell him I said that.
Kaiawu.
He reminds me a bit of my brother. Questioning why things are the way they are. He looks up to you, you know.
I get that feeling, yeah. A lot of things are new to him. It must be daunting. See you later, Rara.
See ya.
What do you need?
Great view, isn't it? I have to say, Greyfell is more fun to look at than Calibrock.
Is it?
Hell yes. I mean, if spikes and chains and nails are what you're into, I guess it's pretty. Not my kind of aesthetic, though. Either way, something you need.
How'd you do it?
Do what? Look so dashing?
No. How do you always make light of everything? It just feels like... I don't know. Nothing ever gets to you.
Huh. Let me tell you a story, General. Once upon a time, there was a dark elven boy. Like every dark elf from Calibrock, he one day found himself on a bunk bed in a dank room cut into a cave reeking of mold, sweat, and boiled cabbage. His memories were gone after drinking the brown liquid, and everything about his new surroundings terrified him. So that's also how he behaved. Eyes downcast, voice low and whispery. Like the hyenas children are, the other boys quickly caught scent of his weakness. And so only 1 week after his admission into the communes, the boy found himself surrounded by 3 other boys, demanding his breakfast ration, mushrooms and a crust of bread.
What did he do?
He handed both over, and he did the same thing the next day, the day after, and the weeks that followed. But the boys decided that merely depriving him of his food wasn't enough, and spiced up their morning visits with clouts, punches and kicks to the gut. It went on for months, until one night, the boy found himself awake in bed, so deeply terrified of the following morning that he considered giving up altogether. He knew where the overseers kept the brown liquid, and he also knew that one of his brothers had ended it in a similar fashion the year before by drinking 2 bottles of it straight.
Wait, you contemplated suicide? Just because the other boys beat you up?
Were you ever a child, Erev? For boys, the approval of their peers is all there is. And not only did the boy not have that, the others hated and ridiculed him. The boy had no friends, no family, no prospect of things ever getting better. All he had was fear.
There are overseers in the communes, right? How come they didn't do anything?
That one's easy, because the whole idea of the communes is weeding out the weak.
And what about Wraith? You joined the communes the same year, didn't you?
Wraith was one of those boys who compensated for his lack of muscle with wits. He made friends with some of the older boys by running errands for them every now and then. So when the boys who bullied me tried to pull the same stunt on him, 2 broad-shouldered 50ers showed up and showed them their place.
Smart.
Yeah, I'll give him that.
But the boy didn't kill himself.
No, because when he snuck inside the laboratories where the overseers kept the liquid, he realized something. Most of his dread was fear. The boy was afraid of the grim days that lay ahead of him. The boy didn't fight back because he was afraid of the pain they would inflict on him if he did. In short, the boy was afraid of a future that hadn't even happened.
And then?
Then he realized that even if the future and the world were as grim and dark as he thought they were, he sure as fuck wouldn't give it the satisfaction of being afraid of them. He could spend his whole life in fear. It wouldn't change a damn thing. All that mattered was action. And on that night, he had 2 choices. Ending it under the assumption that it wouldn't get any better, or wiping away those fucking tears and actually doing something for a change. The next day, when the boys came for his bread, he broke their leader's nose. They broke his hand in return, but they left. When they came back the morning after, the boy awaited them with a bottle of poison, which he threw right into their faces. They didn't come back after that. And a year later, they were eating out of his hand. What I'm getting at, fears and doubts are useless. You'll never change anything by worrying about it. Just do all you can, and once you have, fucking stop worrying. So, do I want to see Jakku stopped? Yes. Do I spend endless nights brooding over all the things that could go wrong? No. Even if my fight against Cerebral God will be my last one, I'll make sure I go out with a grin on my face.
Interesting. Thanks for sharing that with me.
Glad to be of service.
So, Catris, are you with someone?
By the Guardians, are you flirting with me, General?
So, Catris,
By the Guardians, are you...
how's the morale of your men?
What do you mean, morale? The Queen pays us, we're happy. End of story.
Not you, though, right? You're not here for the money.
Oh, let's not do this, shall we?
Do what?
Solemn declarations of ideals, me telling you that I've changed. If my years as a mercenary have taught me anything, it's that words are worth nothing. If I had a penny for every time I told some rich fool what he wanted to hear because it got me where I wanted, I would be shitting in golden potties by now. So this one time, judge me by my actions, not by my words. Deal?
Deal. This may sound a little odd, but I've been wondering, what are a mercenary leader's long-term goals? How do you plan to grow old?
Right into the deep stuff, eh? Honest answer? I don't know. I don't spend much time dwelling on these kinds of things.
Wouldn't that help?
Why? So that I can picture myself all old and saggy trying to resurrect the shriveling snake down there? No, I'll pass. The more you think about these kinds of things, the more you worry. Until I'm too weak to wield an axe and too boring to go carousing with, I don't see the point in brooding over the thought.
I've been wondering, do you really plan on accepting your punishment once all this is over?
Of course I do.
Really?
Yeah, I can't wait to rot in a mouldy, dark dungeon with a sultry torture mistress putting clothespins all over my body. Especially since, you know, just taking my things and making a run for it once the job here is done is something I'd never even consider.
You're right. That sounds so unlike you. You and Wraith don't like each other, do you?
Well, I don't have a problem with him. He's the one dishing out the cold stares.
How come?
Oh, it's always been like that. I never got it, to be honest. I think it's because we're so different. See, General, Wraith has always been the silent, brooding type. He's a thinker, and for him, motivations are as important as results, even if he never tries to claim otherwise. Take what happened to his family, for example. He hates himself for it, and he thinks there's something noble about that self-loathing. Almost like a never-ending funeral rite, you could say. I, on the other hand, am not a man for regrets. I act, I reflect, and I don't look back. It's almost poetic, that.
And that's why Wraith dislikes you?
I think so, yeah. To him, I'm a primitive, selfish, drunken brute whose recklessness is the only reason he made it so far. I'm everything he detests.
I see. I'll be going.
So long.
Let's see what's new. I can take care of that. Stay close.
What do you mean, no? You have to send someone.
I'm sorry, ma'am. Look, I'm sure he'll turn up.
No, you don't understand.
What's going on here?
Oh, General. Beg your pardon. I was just...
A general? Guardians be praised. You could do something.
I was just telling...
More excuses. My son, Aston, is in danger and the guard won't send someone to find him.
Ma'am, as I've already told you, that's not something the Royal Army does.
Why do you think your son is in danger?
That foolish boy is always running off to have adventures. It's nonsense, but this last time he waved some strange, dusty amulet in front of my face, which he apparently found here in Greykeep, and that he would use it to save the world with his friends. I forbid him to leave the city, but poof, suddenly he's gone.
Hold on. Amulet? Ancient?
Yes?
You sound concerned, Private.
Well, it's just... Corporal Tahar's channeling amulet disappeared from his former chambers 2 weeks ago.
Hold on. Are you insinuating that my son, stole it?
I'm not insinuating anything, ma'am. However, General Arif, this might be worth looking into. If this really is Tahar's amulet, then it might be of great help in the Wolfguard's mission.
I don't know what's more shocking. That you refuse to help me until there's the prospect of material gain, or that you actually believe that my poor baby stole from the fabled Corporal Tahar. Oh well, I suppose we have to make do with what we have.
Did he say anything about where he was going? Or how he intended to save the world with this artifact?
Well, not really, but he kept talking about a ruin near a mining village. Oh, my poor baby. You'll look for him, right, General? He's a handsome boy, noble face.
Don't worry. I'll find your son and return him to you.
Guardians be praised. Thank you, General. That's a great relief. Tell him to come back to Mama once you found him. I'm sure he already misses me.
How couldn't he?
This way.
What do we have here? What are you reading? A letter?
What? It's nothing.
All right. But if you need to talk, I'm here.
Well, actually, I could use a friendly ear. Sure you want to hear this, General? This won't be as fun as our last talk.
Yes. Tell me.
Fair enough. Someone died. My former husband, Lauren.
I didn't even know you were married.
Well, I never told anyone. Lauren and I... that was 8 years ago. 2 years after I fled Finn and Mir, and 4 years before I met Tahar.
I see. So, who was Lauren? How did you meet?
In the woods of Highmark. He was a forester. I had made camp in a clearing, but must have eaten something bad for dinner. Because when I woke up the next day, I had terrible stomach cramps. I tried to push on, but I couldn't even move without throwing up. So instead, I spent the whole day lying in my tent, puking my guts out. The problem was, my provisions were almost gone, and I was severely dehydrated.
I guess Lauren found you?
Found me, took me to his village, and nursed me back to health. When I had fully recovered, he offered to let me stay, and that I did. For 2 years.
And you got married?
After a year, yes. You see, Lauren was a good man. One of these incredibly honest, genuine people who wear their hearts on their sleeves. Simply because they have nothing to hide. He was kind, caring, and beautiful. And though he knew he didn't have much to offer materially, he laid what he had at my feet. And all of that even though I wasn't even a good match. An exiled elf. A vagrant, a mage. There were plenty of other women he could have been with. But he wanted me. I still don't get it, to be honest.
So, what happened between you?
Well, one day I woke up with a strange feeling. As though all of a sudden there was a huge leaden weight on my shoulders. Everything felt so alien, so wrong. Our bed, the flowers he had brought me the day before, everything. Even Lauren himself. I wanted to tell him, but for some reason, the mere thought of it turned my stomach. So I left. I wrote him a letter, packed my things, and I left.
And that's the end of the story? You left and never went back?
Well, I did go back to Auchendale 3 years later. He was with a new woman, and she was expecting.
I see. And how did he die? Who wrote that letter?
A mercenary that I hired some weeks ago. I had been thinking of him a lot after Tahar's death, and wanted to make sure he was okay, which, as it turns out, he wasn't. He got bit by a rabid wolf while he was out in the woods.
Just let me know if there's anything I can do.
You already have. You listened.
This might be a stupid question, but how do you feel?
Huh. Lost, I guess. I know Lauren probably loathed me for what I did. But up to this day, I had always felt as though he was still there. And now he's gone. And I never even found the courage to explain why I left, or to apologize. You remind me of him somehow. You know that? You're good. The world is filled with selfish fools, but you're not one of them.
What makes you think that?
I just do. You know, I've been with men and women since, but I always seem to cling to only the ones who don't love me. To the ones who do, like Lauren. I'm like poison. Good thing we're just friends, isn't it?
And here I was about to recite my love sonnets. All 30 of them.
Please, spare me. I need some time now, okay? I'll be ready when duty calls.
Go ahead.
Ah, Erev. Look what I found.
Brandy?
Not just any brandy. The brandy. Vintage 44-412. Right from Windholm's finest distilleries. Rara gave it to me.
Well, someone looks happy today. What's the occasion?
Hey, we found a tool to identify the corrupted, didn't we? And since Wraith is all busy preparing for that ritual, we might as well kick back in the meantime. And also, never mind.
All right, give me a sip.
What, here? No way. Come on, I know a good spot. Yeah, I know what you mean. Wraith can be quite the iceberg sometimes. Honestly, I still don't know what to make of him sometimes. He just seems so detached from everything.
He's been through a lot.
I know. Tell me, Erev. Do you think it'll work? Are we going to stop Jakku just by hunting down the corrupted?
It will.
So optimistic. I like that about you, Erev. I always imagine the worst. You know, that day before the battle on the Golden Road, when Tahar set out to crush the purity once and for all, I was frightened to death. I didn't show it, but I was. The thought that so many lives rested on our shoulders, it crushed me. And now here we are again, caught up in some cosmic scheme that might end with the destruction of our world. It's depressing. Helen's reigns. Why did I even bring this up? This was meant to be a fun time.
A good conversation is fun. At least for me.
True. Still, let's get back to the drinking part. Here, take... Oh, shit. The bottle's empty.
I'll find us another one.
I don't know. Come to think of it, the headache will be bad enough as it is. Listen, there's something I wanted to ask you. Wraith, how do you feel about him?
What do you mean? How do I feel?
Oh, come on, Erev. I've heard how you talk to each other. Are you just exploring all your options? Or do you feel something more?
We're friends. Why do you ask?
Oh, well, I've been thinking a lot, and... Ellen's reigns. I'm so bad at this.
I think it's cute.
At least you're having fun. I like you, Erev. I did since the moment I saw you on the Keep's bridge, with that lost look on your face. I just enjoy being around you. And I feel as though we're connected. Not to mention that you're, quite easy on the eyes.
Well, the feeling's mutual. You're also very... easy on the eyes.
Oh, so it's all about the looks, huh? Ellen's reigns, aren't we superficial creatures?
Sorry, that came out wrong. I like you too, Iria. Well, you've become important to me.
Funny, isn't it? I was hoping you'd say that. I wanted it so much. And now here I am without the slightest idea what I should say.
Then don't say anything.
Look who's awake. Rise and shine, Sir Easy on the Eyes.
Iria? What time is it?
Early. Don't worry, we've still got plenty of time until Wraith's ritual. How do you feel, Erev?
I couldn't feel any better.
Glad to hear that. Thank you. For last night, I mean. It really meant something to me.
It did to me too. What now, though?
Good question. I know this may sound odd, but do you mind if we keep this open? At least for now.
It's okay. For now.
Good. I'd love to stay a bit longer, but I think we should pay the Wolf Chamber a visit, don't you? Just to make sure the Queen doesn't think the Dark Crescent sent an assassin after us. Though you should probably put some clothes on first. I like the look, but it doesn't exactly add to your authority.
Yes.
Hey, need something?
How do you feel about us?
What are you trying to say? Is something bothering you?
Well, I was just wondering if you still want to keep things open.
For now, yeah. And please, don't think this means something is wrong. It's just how I am. I need time to adjust.
I'll see you around, and
You too.